And he writes, quote, "The parallels between that moment and today's events are haunting." Michael Gould joins us live, founding member of the NYPD K-9 unit. Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the program. Good to see you. I mean, this is an incredible piece that you have written about your own experience. So walk us through what happened to you back in 1982.
Yeah, Laura. So my event, I was a rookie officer, 1982. I was walking a foot post in Queens on Northern Boulevard during rush hour traffic. Cars were coming off the Queensboro Bridge in traffic, heavily trafficked. And I had a report of a car that was wanted for a double homicide in the Bronx. I looked, and the car was within 100 yards of me. It's, again, blocked in by traffic. Never expecting it to lunge, I went towards the car. I drew my service revolver, pointed directly at the driver, which my training insisted you do. You shoot for center of mass, not expecting to shoot. I expected somebody seeing a uniformed police officer in broad daylight with a gun pointing at him that they would not advance on me. The car lunged at me. I fired 3 rounds. The windshield shattered. The car proceeded into the oncoming traffic and killed a motorist coming in the other direction. A motorist, the father of 2, on his way to work. He was killed dead. I missed my target. I didn't hit them. They ducked down, but they chose to lunge and move this this is a 3,000-pound projectile. It's not just a car. It's a missile coming at me. So my instincts was to fire 3 rounds.
And that's the training, right?
That is the training. Back then, the question is now, why are they shooting so many rounds? Then it was 3-round bursts. We only had 6 shots. We'd fire 3 rounds to see what happened, and then you would reassess the target and fire another 3 rounds.
A very similar situation, but again, you were after a suspect, a homicide suspect, and we're talking about something very different here, but still the same, of a vehicle lunging towards you. And you're right, you wrote in your piece, I mean, it happened in 3 seconds. Yeah. You know, when people are saying, well, why didn't they shoot the tires? And that's a big question that we keep hearing. Why didn't they shoot the tires? Why don't they shoot the tires?
Right. That would be, look, I was pointing point blank and I missed my target. So just imagine in that 3 seconds, how am I going to shoot the tires? And the ricochet, this is my biggest concern. I missed my target. My concern was, did my rounds go and hit a child walking on the street? These are things, when you're in that moment of time and the adrenaline hits, you have tunnel vision. I'm not talking to my fellow officers. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm hyper-focused on the occupants of the car who ducked and eventually killed somebody. So the fact of the matter, I was exonerated. You don't have to be right or wrong. You have to use objective reasonableness. So the question, and that's what this is going to come down to, what's really bothering me is this political rhetoric on both sides. This is not partisan. Both sides are throwing bombs, terrorists, soccer moms. None of this is related to the facts of the matter, and that's all that this is going to come down to.
And there's more investigation to go. I mean, we've got more witnesses that need to be interviewed and probably more video. I also spoke to a couple who was on the street when this happened. They witnessed it. We talked to them yesterday. Let's take a listen.
Thought that they were trying to target a house, and so I was taking video, kind of searching both sides of the street. I started crossing the street to get to the other side to see if there was something over there that I could see, and it felt safe enough that I was safe crossing a street, you know, with traffic and that sort of thing. And then I heard the 3 shots and the boom of her car hitting the light pole and the parked car across the street, and I just knew that she'd gotten shot.
I mean, it's really incredible that more people weren't injured. I mean, that car went flying. It hit a parked car. And to your point, what happened with you in a similar situation, that vehicle went into another vehicle, and there were other people around and other cars around, right?
Absolutely. And all the training in the world, Laura, I've been through the New York City Police Academy, the National Academy, the FBI National Academy. You can't duplicate being run over by a car or being shot dead on the street. So these things happen so spontaneously and so quickly. As Mike Tyson said, everybody has a plan until they're punched in the mouth. Then everything goes out the window. So you could be the most experienced officer, or you can be just out of the academy. These things are spontaneous events, and it has to be viewed from the officer's perception. That's all it is. It's his unique perception. And that's what the Supreme Court has ruled on.
And what's really interesting about this case, we've got the witness video, the bystander bystanders who were filming this, and if we could put it up, we have that new video, the POV of the ICE agent who had his cell phone out and was filming, and you can see his reflection in the car. He's walking around. You can see him doing a video going around. We see him have an interaction with the driver who was moments away from being shot, and then he has an interaction with the wife in the back of the car outside. So as you're watching about this, you're watching this video, you've heard it. I know you've watched it a couple of times. I'm just wondering what you think about the officer's POV on that cell phone.
Yeah, well, I would argue that they should have their own body-worn camera. That would happen. But he was taking a preventive measure. He was not expecting to get run over by a car. I used to direct traffic right out here on 34th Street and 8th Avenue. I put my hand up. The anticipation was somebody would stop, not come and run me over. So I think this took everybody off guard, and it's an anomaly. Most people abide by what a police officer asks you to do.
Michael, I just want to tell our viewers and have you look at the screen as well. Right now we're looking at, this is a live feed coming to us from Minneapolis, and we're looking at protesters who appear to have been hit with tear gas, pepper spray. I'm not really sure what we're looking. Okay. These are live pictures, and a protest is going on. So what we're seeing is two people there kneeling on a sidewalk in the snow. They're asking for help. They're getting their eyes flushed out with water. It's part of the protesters who are blocking ICE agents in that area. A lot of activity right now on this block. We're getting more information that's coming to us right now. But again, these are live pictures right now in Minneapolis. What are you seeing as you watch this along with us? We're watching protesters again, apparently interfering with ICE operations on the streets of Minneapolis. So here we go, and we're watching it live together.
Yeah, Laura, this is deja vu all over again. I've experienced this for a half a century of political unrest and law enforcement being the target of it. Again, it's fueled by politicians. This is not actually, the protesters are really, and police are pawns in this situation. The politicians are behind microphones and on their soapbox on both sides, and they're fundraising off of these events, which is the most despicable thing, to be clear, on both sides of the aisle. Not right, not left. It's the political situation and just the toxicity of our today's politics is terrible.
So what we're looking at right now for our viewers, we have got a live shot right now coming to us from Minneapolis. There are protests going on in the streets and apparently blocking ICE operations that are happening there on the street. We're not sure if ICE agents are approaching a house and these protesters are alerting people. That's kind of what we've been seeing, Michael, is we've been seeing these protesters blowing whistles and bullhorns and yelling and making as much noise as possible. It reminds me of something that's out in the wild, where people are, making all this noise to alert people that something is about to happen, that an ICE agent, that a caravan is coming their way, either to warn them to get out or just to warn them that it's coming. But that is what we are seeing right now. And we've got Mills Hayes that is in Minneapolis. Hopefully we'll get a chance to check in with her. I don't know if she's on this block right now. But back to what we were talking about in terms of the ICE agent who shot the woman in the car. Let's talk about the amount of time that it'll take. How long did it take in your investigation? Again, you were involved. You had to make that split-second decision to fire your weapon into a vehicle that was lunging at you. How long did that investigation take? Walk us through that. It was back in the 80s, but it's not a 3-day thing, right?
Absolutely not. It's not a 3-month thing. So ironically, in those days, it didn't even make it on the 6 o'clock news because in the 80s, there were 2,000 homicides a year. So this was just another day in paradise in the Big Apple.
Right.
But there's going to be so much civil litigation in this involving the Minneapolis police. There's so many things that no one should be opining on it. Laura, if you went to report on a homicide investigation that's taking place right now, they tell you no comment, it's an active investigation. Here, both sides are throwing bombs. They've already have this person accused. And the only thing that's going to do this is the Justice Department, and he's going to be tried. He has a presumption of innocence. I don't think he'll get to the trial, but there's a presumption of innocence.
Sure.
And that's what our nation is built on. The rest is back like the Salem witch trials or something. We just, the citizens are enraged and they're being is being stoked by politicians.
Right.
Period.
I mean, this is just an incredible event that we are watching unfold in real time with our split screen right now in Minneapolis. We're watching protesters who have been hit with some kind of chemical agent, perhaps, tear gas or something. We've watched 2 people on the ground getting their eyes washed out with water. We want to direct people to your website. What is your website?
K9EXP.com. The letter K, the number 9, EXP.com.
Okay, and
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.